welcome to this tutorial. Today, we'll discover two essential parameters in BIMterform: formwork jutout and engagement depth. They are crucial for determining how formwork is calculated and placed in your project. We'll go step by step with visuals to make everything clear. By the end of this video, you'll understand how these parameters interact and how to use them effectively in your projects. Let's get started. What are formwork jutout and engagement depth? Imagine you need to place formwork around a wall. To define the placement, you need to decide on two things. First, where does the formwork start? Second, how far does it extend? This is where formwork jutout and engagement depth come in. Let's define them. Formwork jutout sets the minimum boundary. This indicates how far the formwork extends outward from the wall, starting from the top edge of the wall. Engagement depth sets the maximum boundary. This measures how deep into the formwork you can reach before hitting the top edge of the wall. Regardless of whether these values are positive or negative, all configurations align with the top edge of the wall. This consistency ensures predictable results, no matter the wall's height or the values you choose. Let's look at the first image. Here, we've set the formwork jutout to 0.05 meters and the engagement depth to 0.65 meters. Notice the gray highlighted area. This represents the selection range where BIMterform will generate configurations. Formwork jutout of 0.05 m marks the minimum distance outward from the top edge of the wall. Engagement depth of 0.65 m marks the maximum distance inward from the top edge where solutions can be calculated. This defined range is necessary for BIMterform to find combinations that fit within this area. How do these parameters work together? Even if formwork jutout and engagement depth have identical values, say 0.25 meters, BIMterform still generates valid configurations. The reason is that the system always calculates relative to the top edge of the wall, whether they have positive or negative values. What happens when formwork jutout is set to a negative value? For example, -1 meter. This means the formwork starts below the top edge of the wall. Combine this with an engagement depth of 2 meters, and you're defining a range that spans from 1 meter below the top edge to 2 meters maximum value. When you combine these parameters, you can observe the excess range that BIMterform takes into account, based on the placement boundaries, to calculate the various element combinations for a wall height of 3 meters. Now, let's take a closer look at another scenario. Here, formwork jutout is set to -3 meters, meaning the formwork starts 3 meters below the top edge of the wall. Meanwhile, the engagement depth is set to 0 meters. This range, from -3 meters to 0 meters, is where BIMterform calculates configurations. What does this mean in practice? BIMterform generates solutions that extend underneath the wall's top edge without exceeding it. As you can see in the highlighted area, BIMterform respects these boundaries, providing configurations that fit perfectly within this defined range. Now, let's move to another important scenario. In this case, the formwork jutout is set to 0 meters, meaning the formwork starts exactly at the top edge of the wall. The engagement depth is set to 2 meters, defining the maximum value of the area for the configuration. BIMterform will calculate combinations where the formwork can extend between 0 meters and 2 meters beyond the top edge. For a wall height of 3 meters, this configuration allows BIMterform to calculate formwork with no excess, a total height of 3 meters, or with up to 2 meters of excess, a total height of 5 meters, where the formwork extends beyond the top edge of the wall. Let's push this concept further. Look at the image where formwork jutout is set to -3 meters and engagement depth to 15 meters. This creates a massive range for BIMterform to calculate. The generated configurations will extend from 3 meters below the top edge all the way to 15 meters inward. This flexibility is particularly useful for complex designs where you need to account for excess formwork or special placement boundaries. By understanding and combining these parameters, you can precisely control your formwork placement in BIMterform. Whether you're working with standard configurations or pushing the boundaries with extreme values, formwork jutout and engagement depth give you the flexibility of finding the element combination that fits the best in your project. For more information, visit our website and contact us to get a 14 days free trial of BIMterform.